What's up guys? Welcome back to Destiny Updates. It's been a rather long time since I've made a video, which I'm extremely sorry for. Unfortunately, I've been really busy and just haven't had the time. But there's something quite important I wanted to go over. Real quick before we get into that though, the channel just passed 50,000 subscribers earlier this week, which is absolutely insane and I cannot thank you guys enough. A proper thank you video with a nice giveaway and game night announcement will be coming soon. Until then, just thank you, seriously, I love you guys. Getting into it though, the big news here, and unfortunately it isn't very positive. Earlier this week, Marty O'Donnell, the composer and audio director at Bungie for more than 14 years, was terminated by Bungie's board of directors. The story caught fire across gaming media, and most of you probably know about it already. However, I intentionally didn't make a video immediately, as I was hoping to hear a bit more information and also calm down a little. So now I'll be taking a look at everything we've heard. It began with this tweet late Tuesday night, where Marty says, "I'm saddened to say that Bungie's board of directors terminated me without cause on April 11th, 2014. Now, as you can imagine, this was greeted by extreme surprise and shock from fans. I myself lost all composure and completely flipped on Twitter. Some of those tweets are seen here. I try to maintain a bit of professional composure at all times, but seeing this around 2 AM my time, I was quite tired and I didn't take it well." Shortly after that, the Bungie blog posted this, titled, "There are those who said this day would never come." Most longtime Halo fans here should recognize where those words come from. The post reads, "For more than a decade, Marty O'Donnell filled our worlds with unforgettable sounds and soundtracks, and left an indelible mark on our fans. Today, as friends, we say goodbye. We know that wherever his journey takes him, he will always have a bright and hopeful future. We wish him luck in all his future endeavors." Now obviously, this clashes with Marty's tweet. Terminated without cause sounds quite different from "Today as friends, we say goodbye." The last senior original Bungie employee to leave was Joe Staten, design director and co-creator of both Halo and Destiny. When he left the team, he wrote a statement to fans explaining how his work on Destiny was done, and he was moving on to tackle new creative challenges. While still a bit shocking, it seemed much more mutual. In Marty's case, it's a lot more jarring and abrupt. So let's take a look at everything else that has surfaced on this, and then I'll give my opinion at the end. First, a Reddit user claiming to be a Bungie employee said that it was a money-related problem. In short, Marty was a full-time employee and was not paid on a per-project basis. Over the years, he had requested significant raises, and more recently he requested another. The board didn't care for this, since some already thought he was overpaid. A verbal argument ensued between Marty and a board member, and shortly after, he was let go. The supposed employee went on to say that a lot of them felt the issue could have been worked out, and he himself doesn't think it was right. This is completely unconfirmed though, as the Reddit user didn't give any proof, claiming the need to hide his identity. But even though it's unconfirmed, it does seem like it could be a valid possibility. After that, we have a comment on the Bungie blog post from Marty's own daughter, and I believe this is completely legitimate. You can pause here if you'd like to read the whole thing, but basically she says she's watched Bungie shift and change dramatically over the last decade, but her dad has always been consistent. He worked hard and always cared about making the player experience as cool as possible. Going on to say how she would often come home from school to find him testing a game, making notes, developing theories, and looking at how it could be improved for the player. He did extensive research on how music affects emotions, and always adds little details that are important. Then saying that her dad isn't going to change as a result of this because he's always consistent, and she also mentions that he loves the fans. It was quite a sweet post, and the replies it got from the Bungie community were amazing. She said she sent it to her dad to read them all. Moving on, Claude Herrera of Destiny.Bungie.org was able to chat with Marty the next morning, and while he didn't reveal any reason for his termination, he did give a little insight. First, Claude explains that the term "without cause" in Marty's tweet means that legally, Bungie didn't have to justify the firing with any proof of misconduct, incompetence, or whatever. It of course doesn't mean that they had no cause to fire him, it just means that they didn't reveal specific reasons. which could also be to protect Marty's reputation as well if he did actually do something wrong. Going on, Claude says that during the chat, Marty repeatedly dodged questions about the future of Destiny's music with the phrase, "I am no longer Bungie's audio director and I cannot comment on their business." He said he's looking ahead, weighing options, and he wishes for the best for everyone. Marty also said, "There are still a bazillion people at Bungie I care about. I've worked there for almost 2 decades and made deep friendships that will last forever. I wish for the best for the team and for Destiny." Claude also notes that the entire audio team at Bungie was hired by Marty. He went on to say that he has fantastic memories of his time there. He is one of the very few people who has made a significant impact on every game they've released since Marathon Infinity in 1996. He also still holds his relationships with Nile Rodgers and Paul McCartney, which started through his work at Bungie. Claude also said that his passion for what he was doing is not diminished. Marty just put up a new website to let people know he's there, and he's currently taking some time to breathe, figuring out what to do next. When asked if he would ever consider moving from games to film, he said it's certainly an option. He's never done films before, he's done games and commercials, but said if Steven Spielberg called, he wouldn't say no. He also added that he's grateful for the support of his family, his wife and kids, and the fans who've poured their hearts out online the past couple of days. Claude then concluded the post with this: "The day might come when either or both parties decide they can talk about what happened last week. But for now, we, the fans, need to be content with the following facts. Marty says he wants the best for the company. He's still an owner. He's just not the audio director anymore. And Bungie says they'll still be able to meet deadlines despite this change." Now, I don't know how Bungie's ownership is structured, but according to Claude, who I definitely trust, Marty is still an owner of Bungie. That definitely made me feel a little better. Even if terminated by the board, he still has some stake in the company. Before we move on to the next article, I'd like to take a moment to thank Claude for chatting with Marty. It definitely improved my outlook on it. Also, Claude and the rest of the team at destiny.bungie.org have always been awesome to me, featuring my videos and such. In fact, I got a comment from Marty regarding my What We Know So Far video on the DBO forums, which I'll show here. As you can see, he was awesome about it and said I should have used more of his music in the video. And then he tweeted the video out as well. But yeah, big thanks to DBO and Claude, they're awesome. Next, there's an article on Eurogamer in which they speak to Bungie's COO Pete Parsons on the topic of Destiny's future without Marty. Parsons is quoted saying the game is close to shipping, which is interesting, then saying that Marty's music remains in the game. Parsons said he thinks the Bungie fanbase is going to look forward to hearing Marty's music, Mike Salvatore's music, C. Paul's music, and Paul McCartney's music in Destiny. Parsons was unable to talk about the reason for his termination, but he denied that it would negatively impact Destiny, adding that much of the game had already been completed. The final thing Pete Parsons said in the interview was, "I believe people will be transported not just by the activities and the stories within the Destiny universe, but also by the sights and the wonderful sounds and music. We have a fantastic team. We're pretty close to shipping, there's a lot of polish left to do, lots of tweaking and tuning, but a lot is already complete." So that doesn't really tell us anything about Marty, but it confirms that his music is still in the game, and it's already largely complete. So his termination should have little impact on Destiny for now. Eurogamer also just released another article as a result of Marty, but it's more looking at music in games as a whole, no info on Marty himself. It is linked below if you're interested though. Now the final thing to look at is the Bungie Weekly update, which is very short and written by Urk instead of Deej. I'm guessing because of the Marty outroar, he felt it was best if someone a little more senior handled it. He starts with, "Right before the end of any enormous creative project, it hurts. Everyone's tired all the time, and you forget what it's like to drive home while the sun is still up. But it's always worth it." Going through, he repeatedly says how the top of each page internally has the words "on track" in big green text labeled on it. Obviously letting the team know that they are meeting their goals and everything is progressing well, but it's still an urgent time and they need to make sure they stay at that status. He went on to say that for us, the floodgates are about to burst wide open. Earlier this week, they cracked the lid on their pre-alpha build for a few dozen journalists. He says that we'll be hearing from all of them soon, and they're loaded with shiny new assets. So expect a major burst of Destiny news coming soon. He says it will mark the true introduction to the world of Destiny, and they hope, more than anything, that we will love what we see. He then mentions how they talked big last year, and now it's time to deliver. It's time to close this out in a way that they will all be proud of. They owe it to themselves, and they owe it to their legacy. But most of all, he says, they owe it to us. Now there was no mail sack this week, because all of the questions would be about Marty. He did give a bit of an ending statement though, along with this nice screenshot of Mars. I'm just gonna read it off for you. He says, "No mail sack this week, we know what you want to ask us. We wish we could help you make sense of what's going on. Sometimes saying nothing is the only right thing to do. Sometimes saying nothing is the hardest thing to do. We're sorry for that. We know that you care a lot about our shared history, we do too. It stings to read some of the more charged, emotional responses, but we understand, and we are committed to focusing on our shared future. We believe it will be bright. Every end is a new beginning. See you Starside." Now that last bit was actually a bit touching to me, and did make me regret my rage tweets at 2 AM. Despite the fact that my favorite composer is no longer on the project, and it feels like he was unfairly removed, there is still a huge team of extremely talented people working on this game. Looking down upon Bungie and Destiny as a result of Marty's termination really isn't fair to the 500 plus people working their asses off, trying to make this into something amazing. I'm still not happy about Marty's termination. He was, in my opinion, an integral part of Bungie, something you did not simply remove. His music is largely responsible for the lasting nature of Halo to me. And to think that we probably won't be hearing his stuff in future Destiny games or expansions makes me quite sad. But there is also two sides to every story. We have no idea what was happening behind the scenes or what could have warranted his termination. And again, we owe it to the entire Bungie team to keep supporting them as we have. In this pre-launch push, they need our support more than ever to get this thing finished and make it awesome. I still think Marty is an incredible composer. I'm still a massive fan of his, and I will certainly be following him wherever he goes next, and supporting him in whatever he does. I highly recommend you follow him on Twitter and check his website every so often, just to see what he's up to. I shall of course link all that below. Before I end the video, Marty, if you somehow watch this, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the amazing music you've created, and the game worlds you've helped immerse me in. Believe it or not, the first piece of music I ever purchased was a Halo soundtrack. And you can be assured that I will continue to buy all of your soundtracks and support whatever you work on next. Now, if anyone from Bungie happens to see this, while I am a little bit concerned about the board of directors, I still love you guys and will continue to support you completely. Thanks for the amazing work you're doing. I still think Destiny will be incredible, and I'm sorry for those tweets. That's everything for this video. Thank you all so much for over 50,000 subscribers. Give me a bit to schedule a game night and figure out how much I can afford for a giveaway, and then I'll put a proper thank you video up with that in it. I'm really sorry once again for the lack of videos. I've been very busy, but I'll do my best to keep content moving. As always, thank you so much for watching and for all of the continued support. I love all of you, and I'll see you in the next update.